Hello and welcome to another issue of Paperdolls for MM3 Isles of Terra. So there have been a lot of changes, pretty much half of everyone's gear has been changed. So let's go over what those changes are. As usual, starting from Jonathan Archer, the male good human knight, at level 17, with his highest stat being Might at 47, which is rated gigantic. And he also has 7 skills and 6 awards. In his equipment list we have some very nice things. So first off, what he still has from previous recordings, he still has his leather boots. Should probably replace them at some point if I get the chance. If there is a shop that sells regular boots, not leather ones, then I will probably try and get some and then enchant them, because that is a prime opportunity. But otherwise, he also still has his winner's helmet, his coral ring, his leather cloak. Again, probably could be replaced with something better, but we haven't found anything. And he still has his amber ring and the gold belt. Now, from the new things that he has, so first off, a cryo shield. I made it have a sort of snowflake pattern to indicate even better that it's related to cold. Then, an obsidian spear. Obsidian is by far the best thing that you can find in the game. When it comes to weapons, Obsidian adds plus 10 to hit chance and plus 50 damage. That is absolutely crazy. That's why Archer has been one-shotting most enemies that we've come across. Of course, the 2-hit chance isn't that good, but the damage is amazing. And we probably won't be changing his weapon anytime soon. The way I'm trying to depict these things is that if something is obsidian, I will try to find at least as much exquisite appearance for it, or even better, some kind of a tech appearance for it, because unfortunately, unlike in the second game in the Might and Magic series, here you will not find any ancient equipment that is stated to be ancient, unfortunately, but at least we do get a lot of pre-generated things. Okay, next, he has a silver medal now. I made it look like a sort of sunburst, I guess, since the Hero Generator 3 doesn't have anything closer to a medal. And the other thing that I do have is the Emerald Brooch. Another new thing, and since I use that model for brooches, I cannot use them for medals, and yeah. But the Emerald Brooch itself is quite good too. It's one of the precious items, and emeralds add plus 12 to AC. So this one single lowly brooch adds quite a bit of AC to what he already has. Then, next, he now has platinum plate armor. Platinum is pretty good, it's not precious, but it's almost that. It adds plus 8 to base AC of the plate armor, and plate armor by itself is quite good already. Then, next, there is the silver longbow that he has. I use a different model for longbows as opposed to short bows, but then since it's mounted on the back, it doesn't really show much. The problem with the third game, Isles of Terra, is that in general you will have a lot more equipment equipped than in the previous games, and so almost everyone has something in the offhand, so I cannot actually place a bow in it. A bit unfortunate, but nothing that can be done about it. Okay, and the last thing that Archer has is a pair of Defender gauntlets. That is actually something that I just picked up in the store in, I think it was Gordon Freeman, maybe it was Doomed. But yeah, I just picked it up, and what it does, the Defender stat, is actually pretty good because it adds AC directly, if I recall correctly. Yeah, Defender Gauntlets, Defender status itself adds +6 to AC. Yeah, so it's quite good. The gauntlets themselves add only +1 AC, and +6 is equivalent to what you would get from a gold item. So it's functionally equivalent to gold gauntlets. So yes, it's pretty good. So all in all of this equipment brings Archer's AC up to 57, which is again quite amazing. So yes, that's all for Archer. Let's go to the next character. Malcolm Reed, the male good human paladin. Level 17 with his highest stat being Endurance at 35, rated incredible. And he has a bit fewer AC points. It's 51. And, well, probably quite obvious why he still has gold and not platinum armor. Alright, so in the equipment list, as I mentioned, he has gold plate armor, then he still has his Seething Pearl Grand Axe. I don't really want to replace it, even though it's getting to the point where I might want to replace it rather than keep it, in that we are getting some nice shields that we can use, and a Pearl Grand Axe by itself is pretty bad. The good thing about it is that it's seething, and that adds in total 15 points of damage to it. So it's pretty good, but it doesn't really match any of the precious resources weapons, because those, as you could see, add even more than that physical damage. And physical damage is almost always better than elemental damage, because as the game progresses we will get more and more enemies who are resistant to elemental damage. He still has iron boots, fairly okay. Still has a leather cloak, should be replaced, but oh well. At least everyone has cloaks now. Then he still has the platinum helmet, not bad. The new things that he has is an amber brooch. Fortunately, you cannot really see it that well because it is behind his arm, the weapon effect, and it's kind of placed in a rather odd position, but I had to place it there to make it look realistic, because that's most likely where you would put a brooch on. Okay, then he has an emerald belt, which I made look quite fancy too. So emerald does add quite a bit of AC due to it being a precious, well, resource, or as it says, it's a metal, but obviously emerald is not a metal. So it adds +12 to AC. That's quite good. Then, next, he has quartz gauntlets. Oddly enough, quartz is much better than crystal, and I don't really know why. Quartz is in fact the best from rare metals, as the cluebook puts them. It adds +5 to AC as opposed to crystals +1 to AC. It's kind of weird. It's better than ebony, for example. But yes, of course, having quartz gauntlets is a pretty good boost to his AC. Then, next, we have a gold longbow. Again, pretty good. And a nice upgrade from what we had earlier. Alright, so that's it for Malcolm. Let's move to the next character. Thelek Shran, the male evil elf robber. Level 18, with his highest stats being accuracy and luck at 29. It's kind of unfortunate, actually. The rating is super, and I'm pretty sure that the rating coincides with the actual bonus that you get. And it, like in Gates to Another World, the bonuses that you get are kind of dependent on the number going over things like 5 and 10. So 29 is quite bad in terms of positioning. He also has 19 might and 14 endurance, once again, really unfortunate numbers. But any increase will make it better then. So, he has 59 AC, pretty good for a robber. And in his equipment list, one interesting new thing is that he has a glass helmet. Glass does not actually do anything. It's pretty much the same as having just a regular helmet. The only thing that does change is its cost. It costs twice as much as a regular helmet, but it doesn't add anything at all. But, well, why not have it? So... it does actually make his paper doll look very interesting. The next things are what he already had, is that he had the silver boots that he has equipped, the iron belt, the amber ring, which is kind of obscured by the sword hilt there, then the scorching ring, with all those flames, the electric crossbow, the emerald shield, and the platinum broadsword. All of these things he already had, but now he has also a brigand ring of antidotes, which brings his thievery skill up to 86. Not bad. Then, well, yeah, it's also of antidotes, so I added a Caduceus, I guess that's how it's pronounced, in the ring area. And then we have the kinetic cape, which was earlier Phlox's, but now I gave it to Shran because that was a bit better in terms of distributing them. The main reason of why I shuffled things around is because now Phlox has some very nice item in its place. I had to give this to someone else. But yes, he does have that kinetic cape, which adds a nice boost to his energy resistance. Then he has ebony gauntlets, some additional AC for that, and a silver pendant, again some additional AC. Then a freezing ring, another one of those extra rings, so now you can see both some flames and some snowflakes in his hand there. Then, last but not least, he has the obsidian chainmail. Yes, that is why his AC is so high. By far the best item to have for him. We will probably not be replacing it to the end of the game, except if we get obsidian chainmail of something else. So when it's equipped as a defensive item, obsidian gives plus 20 to AC. That is quite a lot. So yes, that is very nice. Unfortunately, I will have to make sure that Shran does not ever go unconscious, because if that happens, we will have to pay a lot to fix his equipment there. Yeah. Alright, so that is all for Shran. Let's go to the next character. Hoshi Sato, the female good human cleric. Level 17, with her highest stat being speed... no. Her highest stat is actually personality at 41, speed is second. And personality 41 is gigantic. That is pretty good to have. That means that she has a total of 238 spell points. List. We still have the same leather boots. Again, should replace them whenever I get the chance. The same crystal charm and the same steel belt. But there have been a lot of changes to everything else. So first, she has a crystal helmet now. Then a leather cloak. Finally. Got that slot filled. Of course, still better to have something better, but at least it's not nothing. Then she has platinum gauntlets now. Pretty cool. Then platinum mace, as opposed to a gold mace. That is a direct upgrade, although not a big one. Then a platinum splint mail. So it's like a nice collection of platinum items. And I also made the platinum splint mail look a bit more spruced up. Then she has an iron ring now, and also a gold shield, and another gold ring. All of these items contribute toward all those AC points. And probably some of that AC comes from her speed and from being a bit back in the queue. So I think that is everything I want to cover for Hoshi. Let's go to the next character. Dr. Phlox, the male neutral gnome druid. Level 16, and his highest stat is intellect at 40, rated gigantic. He used to have an intellect of something like 70 with his genius flail, but as I mentioned, I had to replace it due to a better weapon that he now has, as you can see. And overall, Phlox really does look very nice in his paper doll. Something like a king druid. Yes, very nice. So first, what he still has from the last time that we saw him. He still has the steel leather armor, still has a static ring and a lapis ring, and then he still has a crystal charm and crystal boots. And also an ebony pendant. Everything else is new or changed. So the first thing is that he now has steel gauntlets. Okay. The major thing in his paper doll here is that he now has silver robes as opposed to a cape. Silver robes, quite nice. Nicely fitting his job as a druid. So it also did get a nice representation from the Hero Machine 3. Although there's not a whole lot of robe variety, but this is definitely a robe. It's maybe a bit unfortunate that it's a silver robe, and well, it doesn't look quite as good as it could look if it was something like a precious resource or something. Then, he also has an ebony ring now. I had to split the rings between his two hands here because it was getting too crowded. Then he has a gold crown. Very interesting item too. By themselves, crowns do not do anything, as opposed to helmets, which add, I think, 2 AC points. But by virtue of it being gold, and gold does add +6 AC, it's still better than most of the helmets that we've got. So that's definitely useful to have for a druid, because after all they don't get to equip much else. Then next he has a silver coin. Another interesting thing. Basically it goes into his offhand, and while a coin itself doesn't do anything, but as it's silver it does add +2 to AC. It's not that good compared to a shield. Well, it's like a regular shield. But at least it's better than nothing. And we can have some very interesting representations in the Paperdolls here. Then he has an amber belt now. Still some additional AC. And then he has a platinum ring, which probably contributes quite a bit to his AC as well. Then, last but not least, we have the ruby spear. Very cool. Ruby means that it adds +6 to hit and +12 to damage. It was a bit of a tough decision between the flail, the genius flail that he had, and this ruby spear. I could have given it to Shran instead, but I figured that it's better for Phlox to actually have a pretty decent weapon, because spears are one of those rare weapons that druids can actually equip. And, well, we do run into some instances where we cannot actually use spells against enemies, or whenever Phlox has low spell points that I would rather he used for healing and not attacking. And so in those cases this new weapon should come quite in handy. Alright, so that was all for Phlox. Let's go to the last character. T'Pol, the female neutral elf sorcerer. Level 17, with her highest stat being intellect at a whopping 68. Rated fantastic. The intellect changes is why in the end I actually decided to change Phlox's weapon, because he had like 80 intellect and it was only adding 8 spell points to what he already had, so I decided that it wasn't really worth it after all. But about T'Pol. She has 54 AC, once again pretty good, and it comes from one item in particular that I will go over quite soon. Yeah, in total she has 289 spell points. Pretty good. So she still has the crystal brooch from before, the steel ring, the coral helmet, the silver boots, the sparking pendant, the steel cape, the crystal ring of magic detection, and lastly, she still has the ebony dagger. And from the new things that she has is a cryo ring. Once again, you can see Snowflake's foot right there to more show that. Then, the major thing that she now has equipped is the Obsidian Horn. Yes, who needs shields when you can have Obsidian Horns that add pretty much the same thing, just that it's in accessory form, but still in the offhand. So that is very, very nice, and that certainly allows for sorcerers, who otherwise cannot really equip much, to still have a pretty decent amount of armor class. So, very good. Then, she now has ebony padded armor, a bit of an additional AC increase over what she had before. Then another new ring, a toxic ring. Obviously it's actually protection from poison, but it does sound interesting, a toxic ring, and I added that special toxic effect for it there. Then she has a silver belt now, and lastly she now has gold gauntlets. Quite fitting. So that was all for all of our characters, and I will see you in the main game of Might and Magic 3, Isles of Terra, and perhaps at some point we will do another of these Paperdoll issues. Though I expect the rate of change to slow down considerably now, since we're getting obsidian items, and there is pretty much nothing better than that. I'm pretty sure the game cannot continue handing out obsidian items much longer. Alright, so I will see you all later, and see you.